It's something as parents we hate to think about. Would your kids really know what to do in an emergency? Would they know how to call 911, what to say? Well, Lacey Stokes with More Health is back this morning with some great advice and reminders for parents. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you back. Why don't you remind everybody what More Health does too, because I love what your organization does for the community. You're inside schools talking to students really on a daily basis once they are in school. But yeah, kind of remind everybody what More Health does.
More Health teaches health and safety education in kindergarten through 12th grade in Hillsborough and Pinellas County schools. We started as a junior league project back in 1989.
Oh, how cool.
Tampa General came on as our major partner, and then All Children's in 2001. This year we hit 3.4 million students that we have reached since 1989. So our passion is students and teaching them how to be healthy and safe.
And a lot of different lessons plans that you guys are going over within the schools. That's why we love having you on the show, on our show, because these are great reminders for parents as well. What we're talking about this morning is emergency situations. We both have little ones at home. And I think why sometimes us as parents, we forget to do this or maybe do it as much as we should. We hate to think that our kids are going to be put in a situation where they're going to need to know some of these skills, right?
Yes. My husband is a firefighter, so it's really something we talk a lot about at our household. Our oldest is 4, but when she turned around 3, we started drilling her on what's your first name, what's your last name, what's mommy's name, what's daddy's name.
Now, why is that important, Lacey?
So if we are in a situation, let's say if your child gets lost or if they have to call 911, you want them to be able to tell that dispatcher or to tell a police officer or firefighter their name, their parent's name, and their address, and that is a great one.
A lot of times kids just know mom and dad as mom and dad.
Yes. So sometimes I am referred to as Lacey in the house, but we want to make sure that they know the first name and last name and their parents and their address. And the second thing is we want to make sure they know how to make a telephone call, an emergency phone call. So many of us just have our cell phones at home. We don't have landlines. We have a landline, but we don't use it, which this reminded me today. We need to plug in an old school phone that we can teach them how to dial. We have taught them how to make an emergency phone call on the cell phone. So many of us, just like me, I have a lock on my screen, but you can program your cell phone to have an emergency call button. So they can, my daughter, she knows to hit emergency call and she can swipe that and she can call 911.
And we're talking about little that this is important. How, especially when we go back to the names and addresses, how young should they start maybe learning some of this stuff and reciting it back?
Studies show around 3.
3 years old they can start.
And teaching your children what is an emergency. So if mommy or daddy ask you to call 911, or if mommy or daddy or the babysitter or the caregiver is passed out and you try and wake them and they don't wake, that's another thing to trigger, oh, I need to call 911. But also teaching them that 911 is strictly for emergencies.
Yeah, maybe when not to call 911.
Yeah, when not to call 911. So you want to do those mock trials with your child, have an old cell phone, pull it out, or just unplug the house phone and practice dialing 911 and pretend to be the operator and say, 911, what is your emergency? And then the child can say, my mom or my dad is passed out. And then they'll say, well, what is your name? What is the address of the location? If it's a landline, they will be able to pick that up, but if they're calling from a cell phone, they may not be able to because houses are so close together and they can't pick it up.
One of the things I thought we should also mention before we run out of time is this kind of theory of stranger danger, which I feel like as parents we're always telling our kids, all right, don't go up to stranger, but at some point they need to know that they need to go to a trusted stranger if there is an emergency.
Most definitely. So if you're at an amusement park, this is what we've taught our children. If you're at an amusement park, go to someone in a uniform. So if we're at Disney or Lowry Park, we say go to someone with a uniform on, or a police officer, or just to find someone behind a desk at a cash register so they know that they work there and they can help them.
Awesome. All right, well, as we wrap up here, if people want to find out more about More Health, see what you're doing, maybe help any way they can, where would you send them?
You can go to www.morehealthinc.org.
All right, Lacey, thank you so much again. As parents, we hope our kids don't have to use these, the advice, but it's good to let them know. Thank you, Lacey. All right.